you.
Always a pleasure to have you on. Now, we've got all sorts of stuff, just falling all around us when it comes to illegal immigration. And I want to outline a few things, if I may. This is what we have reported in the Washington Times, that if illegal immigrants are in the country, and if they're attending school, they can stay. Have a family member in the military, they can stay. Have primary responsibility for other family members' care, they can stay. And then yesterday, also right before he jetted off to Martha's Vineyard to go play golf, the president signed an executive order that allowed illegal immigrants who are still here, who are not going to be sent back, and about 300,000 of their cases are going to be looked at again. I guess that won't cause more bureaucratic red tape or largesse in government to look at 300,000 cases. But the people who are here, Lamar, from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, they're now allowed to compete with Americans who are out of work for the few jobs that are available. Do I have this right?
You have both points right. First of all, and it may not just be limited to hundreds of thousands of people, it could well extend beyond that, and it could well extend beyond just the so-called hardship cases. And it's really going to be up to their discretion as to who they, in effect, give amnesty to. They're totally going around Congress. They can't get a bill passed in Congress for amnesty, so they're going to try to do through administrative action what they can't do in a democratic fashion. And you're right. They are likely to be given work authorization, which means they're going to compete directly with unemployed Americans. Now, I agree with the president. This is going to create jobs, but the problem is it's going to create jobs for illegal immigrants, not American citizens.
It's Congressman Lamar Smith. He's a Republican from District 21. He's the House Judiciary Committee chairman, the most powerful Texan in the House of Representatives. And listen, we always appreciate the time. Here's what I don't understand. The House of Representatives went to the Republicans, fair and square. Nobody cheated, right?
Right.
And
right.
the DREAM Act couldn't be passed. The DREAM Act actually couldn't. The DREAM Act actually couldn't get passed in the Democratic Senate, I don't think. So
exactly, that big majority in the Senate, Democratic majority in the Senate, a huge Democratic majority in the House, and a Democratic president in the last Congress, and they couldn't get it passed because of bipartisan opposition.
All right, so the executive order exists, representatives, so that the president can say, screw it, I'll supersede the process that we use, and I will implement policy whether the Congress likes it or not. I mean, how does that work?
Well, he's got this task force, which he's basically giving the power that Congress should have, and saying to the task force, you come up with any definition, all these definitions of individuals who you say we are not going to deport. And by the way, I understand that they can even reverse a final order by a judge who has told an individual they have to leave the country. Even that can be reversed, and that individual may not be sent home. So this is clearly amnesty. It is clearly circumventing the right of Congress to try to implement policy. And the president, once again, this is the third or fourth example in this administration, what he can't do legislatively, he's trying to do administratively or through executive order. And it's just, it's fine if you don't live in a democracy. It's not fine in the United States of America, where he has taken an oath to uphold the Constitution and the laws, and not just to pick and choose which laws to enforce. He needs, as President of the United States, to make sure that all laws are faithfully executed, and that's really troublesome here.
It's Congressman Lamar Smith, again, District 21 Republican, House Judiciary Committee chairman. And when we look at executive orders, I don't want to pretend like other presidents haven't done it. They've all done it. And executive, it's a tool for the president to get policy changed and to have his cabinet members act a certain way. This president, however, is taking radical legislation that couldn't pass, like cap and trade, and now he has the EPA basically doing cap and trade. He's got radical legislation like the DREAM Act, which gives amnesty, I think, to upwards of 15 million illegals. And now, because it couldn't pass legislation, the constituency that was represented by you and others in the House, the 535 members of the House and Senate, now he says, well, that's okay. You couldn't get it done. I will get it done. As the boss, as the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, is there any recourse for you and your committee to somehow circumvent here this executive order and make him follow the law of the land?
Right. Joe, we have a couple of options, and on the way there, let me just point out that you're right. A lot of presidents issue executive orders and do things administratively, but never has anyone done so on the scale of President Obama, not with major legislation. You've also got a situation, and this is in the same category, he has issued more regulations in 2.5 years than any other president has issued in their first 2.5 years. He is trying to do through regulations what most people understand you need to go through Congress and through their the elected representatives of the people to try to enact.
And very simply, it's just a power grab, right? It's just about power and control.
Yeah, I mean that's he believes in a super powerful, centralized federal government, and that is what he is trying to implement, whether or not Congress goes along. Frankly, whether or not the American people wanted to go along. Most of the American people oppose Obamacare, for example.
Yeah.
But he is pushing ahead with that regardless. As to what our recourse is, what we can do a couple of things at least in the House where the Republicans are in the majority. We can conduct hearings, oversight hearings. We can pull in administration officials, make them testify under oath, find out what's going on, try to, frankly, embarrass the president and push back and get the American people on our side to push back against the administration. Secondly, the Appropriations Committee can defund any of these efforts, but unfortunately on the appropriations level, you can only defund it 1 year at a time, so that's not a long-term solution. Frankly, Joe, the long-term solution is if you don't like what the president's doing, you have an opportunity in a year and a half to change presidents, and that's ultimately where the answer is.
Well, I think a lot of people are probably going to do that. It's Congressman Lamar Smith. We always appreciate the access. I don't know if you saw this Gallup poll. We know why the president's doing this. He's lost 36 points in his approval rating among Latinos. He's at 49% approval among Latinos, a group that he carried their vote to the tune of, what was it, 75, 85% of Latinos voted for him?
Yeah, around 70%. But, Hispanics, Latinos are smart enough not to be bought off by these kinds.
They know this is a game.
Yeah, this is a game. They know they're being pandered to. That's a sign of, frankly, disrespect. The president, if they'd really been sincere, he would have gone to Congress. He would have passed something when the Democrats were in the majority in both the House and the Senate. He didn't do it. He's trying to make up for lost time, but it's too little too late, and they see through it. The motive is totally political. It's totally trying to get their votes one way or the other, and frankly, I don't think they're going to fall for it.